Welcome to Master 79. In this lesson we are going to master comparative adjectives in English. A comparative is the form of an adjective we use when we compare two things: bigger, faster, more expensive. By the end of this lesson you will know exactly which form to use for any adjective, how to build the sentence around it, and which mistakes to stop making. Every example sentence you will see is invented for teaching, not quoted from any source. Let's get started. So what exactly is a comparative? A comparative is the form of an adjective that compares two things, two people, or two groups. The structure is very regular. You take a subject, a verb, the comparative adjective, then the word then, and then the second thing. My new phone is newer than yours. Tokyo is more crowded than Kyoto. This exercise was easier than the last one. Notice that the word then appears in every one of those sentences. Then is the signal that a comparison is happening, and you will see it again and again in this lesson. Rule 1. If the adjective has only one syllable, you simply add er to the end. Tall becomes taller, cheap becomes cheaper, fast becomes faster, old becomes older, small becomes smaller, strong becomes stronger, young becomes younger, and cold becomes colder. These are the everyday adjectives you use constantly, so this rule alone will carry you a long way. And here is the important part. You must never put the word more in front of these. More tall is always wrong. Taller is the only correct form. 3 spelling changes come with Rule 1, and they catch a lot of learners out. First, if the adjective already ends in the letter E, you only add R. Large becomes larger. Nice becomes nicer. Safe becomes safer. Second, if it ends in a consonant plus Y, the Y changes to an I and then you add ER. Easy becomes easier. Happy becomes happier. Busy becomes busier. Third, if the adjective ends in one vowel followed by one consonant, you double that final consonant. Big becomes bigger with 2 G's. Hot becomes hotter with 2 T's. Thin becomes thinner with 2 N's. But be careful, because we never double the letters W, X or Y. New becomes newer. Slow becomes slower. Shy becomes shyer. Rule 2. If the adjective is long, that is 3 syllables or more, you do not change the adjective at all. Instead you put the word more in front of it. Expensive becomes more expensive. Beautiful becomes more beautiful. Difficult becomes more difficult. Important becomes more important. Interesting becomes more interesting. And comfortable becomes more comfortable. The adjective itself keeps exactly the same spelling. And if you want to go in the opposite direction, you use the word less. Less expensive. Less difficult. Same structure, opposite meaning. Rule 3 covers 2-syllable adjectives, and this is the grey zone where learners hesitate. Here is a reliable way to sort them. If the adjective ends in Y, it almost always takes ER, and the Y turns into an I. Happy becomes happier. Busy becomes busier. Pretty becomes prettier. If it ends in ER, OW, or LE, it usually takes ER too. Clever becomes cleverer. Narrow becomes narrower. Simple becomes simpler. A small group genuinely accepts both forms, so you cannot be wrong. Quiet can be quieter or more quiet. And everything else in the 2-syllable group takes more. Modern becomes more modern. Famous becomes more famous. If you are ever unsure with a 2-syllable adjective, more is the safer guess because it will sound acceptable even when ER would have been slightly more natural. Some adjectives are simply irregular, and no rule will help you. There are 6 you have to memorize, and fortunately they are among the most common words in English. Good becomes better. This route is better than mine. Bad becomes worse. The traffic is worse today. Far becomes further or farther. It's further than I thought. Little becomes less. I have less free time now. Much and many both become more. We need more chairs. And well, meaning healthy, also becomes better. She feels better this week. One useful detail here. Further and farther are both correct for physical distance, but only further works for abstract things. We say further information, further details, further questions. Never farther information. Now let's look at the word "than" more closely, because there is one question that comes up constantly. Do you say "than me" or "than I"? In everyday spoken English, we use "than" plus an object pronoun. She is taller than me. He works harder than us. This is completely standard, and it is what you will hear from native speakers all day long. In formal writing, you may prefer "than" plus a subject pronoun with a verb after it. She is taller than I am. He works harder than we do. Notice that you keep the verb. "Than I" on its own sounds stiff and old-fashioned. And finally, you can drop "than" altogether when the comparison is already obvious from the situation. Could you speak more slowly, please? More slowly than what? Than you are speaking now. Everybody understands, so "than" is unnecessary. You can also control how big the difference is, and this is what separates a basic sentence from a natural one. To show a big difference, put much, far, a lot, or significantly in front of the comparative. This flat is much cheaper than the last one. The second option is far better. To show a small difference, use a bit, a little, or slightly. Today is slightly warmer than yesterday. It's a little more expensive. And here is a mistake I hear constantly. You cannot use very with a comparative. Very bigger is wrong. Very more expensive is wrong. The word you want is much, much bigger, much more expensive. There is a second way to compare, and you should have it in your toolkit. It is the structure as adjective, as. When two things are equal, you do not need a comparative at all. Sam is as tall as Ben. They are the same height. Now make it negative, and something useful happens. This cafe isn't as busy as the one downtown. That means exactly the same as saying this cafe is quieter than the one downtown, but it sounds softer and more polite. Native speakers reach for "not as" when they want to avoid sounding blunt. It is a small change that makes your English sound noticeably more natural. Here are two patterns that will make your English sound noticeably more advanced. The first shows a change that keeps going. You simply repeat the comparative and join it with "and." Prices are getting higher and higher. The days are getting shorter and shorter. For long adjectives, it works exactly the same way. Streaming is becoming more and more popular. The second pattern links two changes together, and it uses the word "the" twice. The more you practice, the better you get. The sooner we leave, the easier the journey will be. Both halves start with the word "the", and both halves contain a comparative. Once you notice this pattern, you will start hearing it everywhere. Before we practice, here are the 5 mistakes I see most often. Number 1. She is more taller than me. You cannot use both "more" and "er" on the same adjective. Choose one. She is taller than me. Number 2. This one is more better. Better is already a comparative, so more is not needed. This one is better. Number 3. It's cheaper than the other one. That is the wrong word. THEN is about time. THON with an A is for comparisons. It's cheaper than the other one. Number 4. My car is very faster. Very never goes with a comparative. My car is much faster. And number 5. Berlin is more big than Bonn. Big has one syllable, so it takes ER. Berlin is bigger than Bonn. Right. Let's put all of this to work. A second voice is going to read you 6 practice sentences.
Here are 6 sentences. Put the adjective in brackets into its correct comparative form. Pause the video now and write your answers down. Number 1. This road is blank than the old one. Narrow. Number 2. Learning a language is blank than people think. Difficult. Number 3. My results this year are blank than last year. Hoot. Number 4. Today is blank than yesterday. Cut. Number 5. She looks much blank since the holiday. Happy. Number 6.
The station is blank than I remembered.
Class. Take your time. The answers are on the next slide. Here are the answers. Number 1. This road is narrower than the old one. Narrow has 2 syllables and ends in OW, so it takes ER. Number 2. Learning a language is more difficult than people think. Difficult has 3 syllables, so it takes more. Number 3. My results this year are better than last year. Good is irregular. Number 4. Today is hotter than yesterday. Hot ends in 1 vowel and 1 consonant, so we double the T.
Number 5.
She looks much happier since the holiday. Happy ends in Y, so the Y becomes an I. And number 6. The station is further than I remembered. Far is irregular. Farther is also correct here, because we are talking about physical distance.
Let's bring it all together. 1 syllable, add ER. Tall becomes taller, and you never add more as well. Watch the 3 spellings. A word ending in E takes only R. A consonant plus Y becomes IER. And 1 vowel plus 1 consonant doubles the consonant. 3 syllables or more, use the word more, and the adjective itself never changes. 2-syllable adjectives are the grey zone. Endings in Y, ER, OW and LE usually take ER, and everything else takes more. Memorize the irregulars because they are the words you will use most. Good and better, bad and worse, far and further, little and less. And finally, size the difference with much or a bit, and remember that very never goes with a comparative. Well done. You can now build the comparative form of any adjective in English, and you know how to build the sentence around it. Practice by describing the things around you today. Compare 2 cities, 2 phones, 2 meals. The next lesson on Master 79 is superlatives, the biggest, the best, and the most useful, which build directly on everything you have just learned. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in the next lesson.